Good evening, and welcome back to the Goon Multiplayer Spectacular. Currently, Sydin, as the Kabuto Fujiwara, is playing RevenantThreshold as the Kiso Minamoto. Sydin has bought a regiment of Naginata Levy, 3 regiments of Naginata Levy, 2 regiments of Foot Samurai, and 4 sword attendants, and of course his Tetsubo Warrior Monk Hero. While on the other hand, RevenantThreshold has bought his Tetsubo Warrior Monk Hero, it's Tetsubo versus Tetsubo, 2 Mounted Naginata, 2 Foot Samurai, and there's some more Foot Samurai in the trees, as we will see. So it's not a particularly good matchup for RevenantThreshold, as the high number of sword attendants that Sydin has bought will basically outperform the Foot Samurai in hand-to-hand combat. Now, if he's going to play a more skirmish-style game, that will suit the strengths of the Foot Samurai better, but we'll just have to see how it goes. So with the Mounted Samurai coming out on the flank to put pressure, that's a good play, considering there's not all that many spears to defend here, although Sydin is keeping his General's Bodyguard nice and close with the sword attendants, so it's going to be tricky. No one's going for the archery dojo at the moment, and that's probably going to be a bit of a mistake, considering that the archery dojo could be captured quite easily by these Mounted Naginata, and will give a little bit more range punch to the Foot Samurai and certainly to the General that is skirmishing. We can see that the farmhouse is being captured by Sydin over there with his levy, a fantastic use of them, and should be on fairly soon. So we can see immediately that Sydin's identified that Revenant has very little that's in the way of stopping him and is just going straight for the bum rush. And this is the best strategy when you are outbowed to this magnitude. You don't want to be skirmishing with Foot Samurai unless you absolutely have to, because they will tear you to pieces. As we can see, a mere 2 volleys in, 10 sword attendants down, and they'll keep dropping. Here's the rest of the Foot Samurai that were hidden in the trees there, which are going to catch this sword attendant army. We can see double bonsai and a fantastic charge. Almost a 1/6 of the unit obliterated on the charge, and that will continue to whittle down for the 10-second charge duration. So Koku for Koku, these are fights that are very much in the sword attendant's favor. And of course, the other problem with Foot Samurai is you just don't have mass of numbers. You can't cover your flanks, and even though these sword attendants have been whistling arrowed, which will reduce their melee attack and their morale, the bonsai is going to basically cancel that out, and you're going to still look at a very, very favorable matchup for the sword attendants. Of course, there's just really no bulk to these forces, so Revenant's forces are just getting absolutely cut down. He's picked a stand and fight sort of a situation where really he should be a more fluid sort of a fight, falling back, letting Sydin try to take the workshop and filling his troops with arrows as he does so. Now, the Mounted Naginata are in on the sword attendants and have collapsed this flank. A great use of cavalry there and enabling pressure. Unfortunately, the other flank has completely collapsed, and so that's 1 flank each, but the numbers just simply aren't on Revenant's side at this point. We can see the Mounted Naginata are doing their best to get a charge, but it's a poor angle. They're screened by their own Foot Samurai, and so the charge does very little damage. They're now, of course, tied down by a sword attendant unit that haven't charged, and they're going to have some problems. That fight should still be a winner for Revenant, but it's not looking like he's got too many other winners. The Tetsubos are getting kited to death slowly, although they are in amongst Sydin's general, so we will see how that turns out. Only 4 of them left. They're not going to be decisive in this battle. So as we can see, here still large numbers of troops, although they are primarily levy left. The Tetsubos are untouched, however, and I just don't know that Revenant has the firepower necessary to take those Tetsubos down. Revenant's Tetsubos have been beaten by Sydin's Foot Samurai, and the general's still in pretty good condition. So we've really at a situation here where there's not too much left. Now, something you will note is that the Foot Samurai over here have reformed, if you note on the minimap, but Revenant in the heat of the battle hasn't noticed this and so hasn't brought them in. And really, while it wouldn't make much difference at this point in time, bringing them in, getting them stuck into the general, it might just take a little bit of pressure off, leave an opening, and openings are what you need when you're dealing with cavalry. Although, admittedly, it's primarily spears left at this point, and Mounted Naginata are a poor choice in that scenario. But just getting them caught, obviously very flustered, beautiful boxing maneuver from Sydin to bring the spear units in on all angles, close the box, and with the loss of that cavalry, there's really not too much that's going to help Revenant to win this. I'd say it's pretty much all over. Possibly could have withdrawn the cavalry, pulled back this way, although likely to have been boxed in by the levy over here. And with that, the fight is basically over. These Naginata levy are looking like they're going to catch the bodyguard. Yep, the bodyguard has been caught. We can see already a couple of bodyguard down, but really the bodyguard were not going to win this fight up by themselves. So, a fantastic battle from both combatants. Revenant didn't bring enough line troops to hold the line against the sort of charge the sword attendants had, and in the end, this sort of a map, it's an okay skirmishing map, but didn't really take a lot of advantage of the cavalry, or rather didn't have the time to take advantage of the cavalry. Sydin just kept the pressure on from the word go, burst out of the gate, and there was just basically scrambling from Revenant to try to respond, and just didn't find the magic bullet. It was a tough matchup. That many sword attendants versus foot samurai with nothing to screen them is always going to be an uphill fight, and in this case, it was just too steep. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the next one, and I hope you are too. Catch you next time.